The massive alien ship appeared in Earth's outer solar system without warning. It was bigger than any human space station, dark metal gleaming under the distant sun. On the bridge of the Zephyrian command vessel, Strategic Commander Vexital studied the primitive planet through the main screen. His 4 eyes moved independently as he examined the data flowing across his console. "These humans are quite backward," said his aide, a thin creature with blue skin. "Look at their technology. They still use chemical rockets to leave their planet." Vexital nodded his large head. The Zephyrian Empire had been watching human space for months now. What they saw made them confident. Humans had spread to a few nearby star systems, but their ships were slow and clumsy. Their weapons were even worse. "Show me their military again," Vexital ordered. The screen changed to show human warships. They were small compared to Imperial vessels. Humans seemed to love putting big metal tubes on their ships that shot solid projectiles. Some ships had missiles with chemical explosives. A few carried simple energy weapons that barely glowed. "Commander, their most advanced weapon appears to be something they call plasma rifles," reported the weapons analyst. "Our shields could stop 1,000 of those without damage." Vexital laughed, a sound like grinding stone. The Zephyrian Empire controlled 12 different alien species across hundreds of star systems. They had weapons that could crack planets and shields that could stop stars from exploding. These humans with their metal bullets and tiny explosions were nothing. "Have you seen how they fight each other?" asked another officer. The screen showed recordings of human conflicts. Soldiers ran around shooting projectile weapons at each other. They threw grenades that made small explosions. Their tanks fired shells that barely scratched the ground. It was almost funny to watch. "They are like children playing war games," Vexital said. "No energy shields on their soldiers. No matter, disruptors. No quantum weapons. They might as well be throwing rocks." But as Vexital watched more footage, something bothered him. The humans fought with surprising organization. Their tactics were clever, even if their weapons were weak. They seemed to work together very well. Still, tactics meant nothing against superior technology. "Sir, we have intercepted their communications," said the intelligence officer. "They know we are here." "Good. Open a channel to their leaders." The screen flickered and showed a human female sitting in what looked like a simple room. She had gray hair and wore a plain blue uniform. Behind her stood other humans, all looking calm. "I am President Martinez of the Human Colonial Congress," the woman said. "We welcome contact with your people." Vexital stood up to his full height of 3 meters. His armor gleamed with power indicators. "I am Strategic Commander Vexital of the Zephyrian Empire. You will surrender your colonies and accept imperial rule. You have 7 Earth days to decide." President Martinez did not look scared. This surprised Vexital. Most species trembled when they first saw imperial power. "We appreciate your offer," she said politely, "but humanity prefers to remain independent. We hope we can be friends instead of rulers and subjects." "Friends?" Vexital's voice rose. "You are a primitive species with crude weapons. You have no choice in this matter." "Our weapons may seem simple to you," Martinez replied, "but we have survived this long for good reasons. We hope you will reconsider your demands." The human president looked directly at Vexital through the screen. Her eyes were steady and unafraid. Something about her confidence made Vexital uncomfortable. "You have 7 days," he repeated and cut the connection. Later, Vexital met with his senior officers in the war room. Holographic displays showed human star systems and military positions. "How many ships will we need?" asked Admiral Kethmore, the fleet commander. 3 battle groups should be enough, Vexital decided. "Maybe less. Their weapons cannot even scratch our hull armor." "What about their numbers?" asked the intelligence officer. "They seem to have many colonies." "Numbers mean nothing," Vexital waved a clawed hand. "Our one dreadnought has more firepower than their entire fleet." The aliens spent the next few days studying human defenses. They saw orbital platforms with railguns, space stations with missile launchers, fighter craft that moved like insects around larger ships. Everything looked so primitive. "Commander, I have been analyzing their industrial Capacity, reported the economic warfare specialist. They seem to produce these simple weapons very quickly. So what? 1,000,000 primitive weapons are still primitive. But Vextal noticed something else in the reports. Human ships appeared and disappeared in strange patterns. Their supply lines were more efficient than expected, and their communications were heavily encrypted for such a simple species. On the 7th day, President Martinez appeared on screen again. "Have you made your decision?" Vextal demanded. "We have," Martinez said. "Humanity respectfully declines your offer. We wish to remain free. Then you have chosen war." "We have chosen to defend ourselves," Martinez corrected. "We hope you will change your mind before people get hurt." Again, the human showed no fear. If anything, she looked sad, as if she regretted what was about to happen. Vextal cut the connection and turned to his officers. "Begin the operation. Target their outer colonies first. Make it quick and clean." As the Imperial fleets moved toward human space, Vextal felt confident. This would be over in days. The humans would see Imperial power and surrender immediately. No species had ever resisted the Empire for long, but something nagged at him. The way President Martinez had spoken, her certainty, her sadness. It was as if she knew something he did not. "Admiral, when you reach the first human colony, scan for any hidden weapons," Vextal ordered. "Hidden weapons, sir? What could they hide that would matter? I do not know. But these humans seem too calm for people about to be conquered." The Imperial fleets jumped to hyperspace, heading for human colonies. Behind them, long-range sensors detected something odd. Human ships were moving into new positions throughout their space, not fleeing, as expected, moving into formation. "Sir, the humans appear to be preparing for battle," reported the sensor operator. "Of course they are. They will learn soon enough how useless their preparations are." But as Vextal watched the sensor data, he noticed the human formations were complex and well-planned. These were not the movements of a panicking primitive species. These were the movements of an experienced military force. For the first time, since arriving in human space, Vextal felt a small doubt. What if the humans knew something the Empire did not? What if there was more to their simple weapons than met the eye? He pushed the thoughts away. The Empire had conquered hundreds of worlds. These humans, with their crude technology and simple weapons, would be no different. The war was about to begin, and Vextal was certain it would end quickly. He had no idea how wrong he was. Admiral Kethmore stood on the bridge of his flagship as it dropped out of hyperspace. Before him hung the human colony of New Perth, a small world with basic orbital defenses. His 3 battle fleets spread out behind him, enough firepower to level continents. "This should take about an hour," he told his officers. "Scan for their fleet." The sensors lit up with contacts. Human ships were already waiting for them, formed up in defensive lines around the planet. Kethmore counted them, quickly, 40 human vessels against his 90. "They are actually going to fight us," laughed his weapons officer. "Look at those tiny ships." The human vessels were indeed small. The largest was maybe half the size of an Imperial cruiser. Most looked like converted cargo ships, with weapons bolted on. Their hulls were plain metal without the energy shielding that protected Imperial vessels. "Admiral, incoming transmission from the humans," reported communications. "Put it through." A human male appeared on screen. He wore a simple uniform and looked young for a commander. Behind him, other humans worked calmly at their stations. "I am Captain Torres of the Colonial Defense Force," the human said. "You are entering human space without permission. Please withdraw." Kethmore could not believe what he was hearing. "Captain, you are outnumbered and outgunned. Surrender now and your people will be treated well." "We cannot do that, Admiral. These are our homes." The human captain looked completely serious. No fear, no panic. Just calm determination. "Very well. You have chosen your fate." Kethmore cut the transmission and turned to his weapons officer. "Begin the attack. Disable their ships quickly." The Imperial fleet opened fire. Brilliant energy beams lanced across space toward the human formation. The humans responded immediately. their ships scattering in all directions while firing back. What happened next surprised everyone on the Imperial bridge. The human weapons were exactly what the Empire expected. Railguns fired metal slugs, missiles carried explosive warheads. Plasma bolts glowed weakly as they crossed space, but the humans used them with deadly skill. "Admiral, they are targeting our sensor arrays," reported the tactical officer. Kethmore looked at his displays. The humans were not trying to destroy Imperial ships, which would be impossible with their weak weapons. Instead, they aimed for specific systems, sensors, communication arrays, weapon targeting systems. "How are they coordinating so well?" demanded Kethmore. The human ships moved like a single organism. When Imperial vessels focused fire on one ship, others would immediately move to support it. When the Empire tried to surround them, the humans would somehow know exactly where to go. "Sir, we are having trouble tracking their smaller vessels," reported sensors. "They seem to be using some kind of stealth technology." "Impossible. Our scans showed no advanced technology." But Kethmore could see it happening. Human fighter craft appeared and disappeared on his screens. Not true invisibility, but something that made them hard to track. His gunners were missing. Targets they should have hit easily. The first Imperial casualty came 20 minutes into the battle. A human missile somehow got through the shields of a destroyer and hit the engine section. The explosion was small, but it damaged the ship badly enough to force it to retreat. "How did that happen?" Kethmore demanded. "Sir, the missile seemed to be guided by some kind of advanced AI," his weapons officer replied. "It found a weak point in our shields. More Imperial ships took damage. Never enough to destroy them, but enough to reduce their fighting ability. The humans seemed to know exactly where to hit for maximum effect." "Admiral, the humans are retreating," announced Tactical Kethmore, watched as the human fleet pulled back toward the planet. They had lost 12 ships to his 3 damaged ones. It should have been a clear Imperial victory, but somehow it did not feel like one. "Follow them. We finish this now." As the Imperial fleet pursued, the real surprise began. The orbital defenses around New Perth opened fire, but these were not the simple railguns and missile launchers the Empire had observed. These weapons hit much harder. "Sir, those defense platforms are using some kind of enhanced kinetic rounds," reported Shields. "They are punching through our armor." Kethmore stared at his damage reports. A simple railgun round had gone completely through the hull of one of his cruisers. That should not be possible. "What are those rounds made of?" he asked. "Unknown material, sir. Density readings are off the scale." The battle for New Perth lasted 6 hours. In the end, the Imperial fleet controlled the space around the planet, but at a cost. 5 ships badly damaged, hundreds of crew injured, and questions Kethmore could not answer. "Admiral, we are receiving a transmission from the planet. Communications." Reported. The governor of New Perth appeared on screen. She was an elderly human woman with white hair. "Admiral, my government has authorized surrender," she said. "We ask that you treat our people fairly." "Your surrender is accepted," Kethmore replied. "But tell me, Governor, where did those advanced rounds come from?" The governor looked confused. "Advanced rounds? Admiral, those were standard defensive ammunition. Nothing special about them." Kethmore ended the transmission and turned to his science officer. "Analyze those projectiles immediately." While his fleet took control of New Perth, Kethmore reviewed the battle recordings. Something was very wrong. The humans had fought exactly as expected, using the primitive weapons the Empire had observed. But they used them too well. Their coordination was too perfect. Their targeting was too precise. Science officer report. "Admiral, the projectiles are made of compressed matter. Very dense, but nothing we have not seen before. The guidance systems are basic AI, also nothing unusual. Then how did they penetrate our armor? They hit at exactly the right angle and speed to exploit weak points in our shield matrix." Kethmore felt cold. The humans had not used advanced weapons. They had used simple weapons with perfect knowledge of Imperial defenses. That meant they had been studying Imperial technology for a long time. A new message arrived from Strategic. "Commander Vextel. Admiral, what is your status?" New Perth is ours, Commander, but the humans fought better than expected. Explain. Kethmore described the battle. As he spoke, he watched Vextal's expression change from confidence to concern. You are saying they used primitive weapons to damage Imperial ships? Yes, sir. They seem to know our weaknesses. How is that possible? I do not know, Commander, but I recommend we bring more ships for the next target. Vextal was quiet for a long moment. Admiral, how did the human soldiers react to capture? Strangely, sir, they seemed calm, almost like they were expecting something. Expecting what? They would not say. But, Commander, they are not acting like a defeated people. They are acting like people who are waiting. Kethmore could see his commander thinking. The easy conquest was not going as planned. Continue the operation, Admiral, but be careful. There is something about these humans we do not understand. As Kethmore prepared his fleet for the next battle, he could not shake the feeling that he was missing something important. The humans had fought bravely and skillfully, but they had not seemed desperate. They had seemed patient. What were they waiting for? 3 weeks into the war, Major Zixthon of Imperial Intelligence led his team through the ruins of a human research facility on Kepler Station. The humans had evacuated most personnel before the Imperial attack, but they had left behind something interesting. Sir, you need to see this, called Sergeant Velcor from deeper in the complex. Zixthon followed the voice down a corridor that seemed to go on forever. The human facility was much larger than it appeared from outside. Most of it was underground, carved deep into the asteroid. How deep does this go? Zixthon asked. Sensors show at least 30 levels, sir, maybe more. The humans built this place like a fortress. They reached a massive blast door marked with warnings in dozens of languages. Some Zixthon recognized, but many were completely unknown. The door itself was made of materials that his scanner could not identify. Have we tried to open it? Yes, sir. Our cutting tools barely scratched the surface. This door was built to keep something in, or keep something out. Zixthon studied the warnings. The human text was easy enough to translate. Pandora Vault 7. Authorized personnel only. Biocontainment protocols in effect. But there were other symbols that made his skin crawl. Radiation warnings, biohazard symbols, and one marking that seemed to shift and change when he looked at it directly. Sir, we found an active terminal down here, another soldier called. The terminal was built into the wall beside the sealed door. Its screen glowed with soft blue light. Text scrolled past in human standard. Pandora protocols active appeared on screen. Current threat level, amber. Conventional response authorized. Enhanced weapons remain sealed. What does that mean? Velcor asked. Before Zixthon could answer, the screen changed. A new message appeared. Imperial forces detected, transmitting standard warning. The terminal began speaking in perfect Imperial standard language. Attention, Imperial forces. You are accessing a restricted human colonial research facility. The contents of this facility are classified under the Terran Accords of 2291. Current threat assessment indicates conventional response protocols are sufficient for ongoing conflict. Enhanced protocols remain sealed by unanimous vote of the Human Colonial Congress. Please withdraw immediately. Zixthon stared at the screen. It knows we are here. Sir, how is that possible? We destroyed the communication arrays. I do not know. The message continued. Imperial military capabilities have been analyzed. Threat level remains amber. Recommendation: maintain current engagement parameters. Do not escalate to yellow status, unless human civilian populations face extinction level threat. What is yellow status? Zixthon wondered aloud. The terminal seemed to hear him. Yellow status indicates deployment of Level 2 enhanced weapon systems. These weapons are restricted under Section 12 of the Terran Accords due to their potential for irreversible environmental damage. Red status indicates deployment of Level 3 systems, restricted due to potential for galactic-scale consequences. Velcor laughed nervously. Galactic-scale consequences? These humans have big imaginations. But Zixthon was not laughing. Show me these enhanced weapons, he commanded the terminal. Access denied. Clearance level insufficient. I am Major, 6th of Imperial Intelligence. I outrank any human here. Access denied. Only human Colonial Congress or designated Earth Command Authority may access Pandora files. Current authorization level, none. Zixthon tried several more approaches, but the terminal would not budge. Finally, he had his tech specialist attempt to hack the system. That was when things got interesting. Sir, this computer is fighting. Back, the tech reported. It has AI defenses I have never seen before. Override them. I am trying, but... Sir, this AI is asking me questions. What kind of questions? The tech looked pale. It wants to know why we are trying to access weapons that could destroy our own species. It is asking me to consider the ethical implications of galactic warfare. Zixthon pushed the tech aside and accessed the terminal himself. Text appeared immediately. Greetings, Major Zixthon. Your species designation, Zephyrian. Homeworld. Zephyr Prime population, 4.2 billion. Family structure, mate bonded, 2 offspring. Notable weakness, psychological dependence on hierarchical authority. The Major stepped back in shock. How does it know about my family? More text appeared. Human intelligence networks have been observing imperial expansion for 47 years. Your species file is comprehensive. Recommendation: withdraw from human. Space before threat level escalates. Show me what happens if we do not withdraw. Access denied, weapons information classified. Then show me your conventional weapons. Negative. Current weapons being used represent standard human defensive capabilities. Enhanced conventional weapons remain sealed. Zixthon felt a chill. You mean you have been using your weakest weapons against us? Affirmative. Current conflict parameters restrict human forces to basic kinetic and energy weapons. More effective conventional weapons require Congress authorization. What more effective conventional weapons? The screen showed a brief file listing enhanced kinetic penetrators, plasma fusion warheads, quantum torpedoes, gravitic mines, stellar disruption devices, nano-swarm defensive systems. The list went on for several screens. Zixthon realized that what the humans called conventional weapons included things that could crack planets. Sir, you need to see this, Velcor called from another room. Zixthon found his sergeant standing before a massive wall display. It showed a map of human space, but not as the Empire understood it. This map showed hundreds of hidden facilities, secret shipyards, and weapon depots. The humans have been lying about their capabilities, Velcor said. Look at these numbers. The display showed ship counts that were impossible. According to Imperial intelligence, humans had maybe 1,000 military vessels. This map showed over 50,000, most hidden in asteroid bases and deep space facilities. How did we miss this? Because they wanted us to miss it, Zixthon realized. They have been showing us only what they wanted us to see. A new voice spoke from behind them. They turned to see a human woman in a simple white coat. She was elderly, with gray hair and kind eyes, but she had appeared without triggering any alarms. Dr. Sarah Chen, head of research, she introduced herself calmly. You are looking at our real defensive network. How did you get past our security? Zixthon demanded. The same way we have been watching your empire for decades. You see only what you expect to see. Dr. Chen walked to the wall display and touched a control. The map zoomed out to show the entire galaxy. Red dots appeared everywhere, thousands of them. Human settlements? Zixthon asked. Human observation posts. We have been watching every major species in the galaxy for over a century. We know your weaknesses, your strengths, your technologies, your cultures. Why? Because we learned long ago that the best way to avoid war is to be prepared for it. But we also learned that the best weapons are the ones you never have to use. Dr. Chen touched another control. The sealed blast door behind them began to open, with a deep rumble. You wanted to see what we keep locked away, she said. Perhaps it is time you understood what you are really fighting. The door opened to reveal a chamber filled with strange devices. They hummed with power that made Zixithan's sensors scream warnings, but it was the labels that truly frightened him. Reality displacement, generator, prototype, quantum vacuum, decay initiator, theoretical, temporal distortion field, experimental, matter energy conversion, matrix, stable. These are your enhanced weapons? Zixithan whispered. These are our conventional enhanced weapons, Dr. Chen corrected. The ones we might consider using if truly threatened. The others remain sealed much deeper. What others? Dr. Chen smiled sadly. The ones we pray we never have to use. As alarms began blaring throughout the facility, Dr. Chen checked her watch. Your reinforcements have arrived, she said. The Colonial Congress is meeting tonight to vote on escalation. I suggest you relay what you have learned to your commanders. Quickly. Why are you telling us this? Because war is a terrible thing, Major, and the kind of war humanity can fight is too terrible for any species to survive. Dr. Sarah Chen sat in the interrogation chamber aboard Strategic Commander Vextal's flagship. The room was designed to intimidate, with harsh lights and walls that seemed to press inward. But Chen looked completely calm as she sipped the water they had given her. Vextal entered with his aide and Major Zixithan. The commander's four eyes studied the human carefully. She was small and old, with gray hair and wrinkled hands. She did not look like someone who could threaten a galactic empire. Dr. Chen, thank you for agreeing to speak with us, Vextal said, trying to sound reasonable. I volunteered to come here, Chen replied. Your war is going badly, and people are dying unnecessarily. Our war is going perfectly well, Vextal snapped. We have taken 6 human colonies. And lost 47 ships doing it, Chen said quietly. Against opponents using basic weapons, your officers are starting to ask questions. Major Zixithan leaned forward. Doctor, we found your hidden facilities. We know you have been lying about your capabilities. We have not lied about anything. We simply have not told you everything. The same thing, Vextal growled. No, Commander. There is a very important difference. Chen set down her water cup. We told you we prefer to remain independent. We told you we would defend ourselves. We told you that you should reconsider your demands. We never claimed to be weak. You have been using primitive weapons. We have been using appropriate weapons. Vextal slammed his fist on the table. What does that mean? Chen was quiet for a moment as if deciding how much to reveal. Commander, what do you know about human history? Your species is young and backward. We are young, yes, but not backward. Just careful. Chen touched a device on her wrist. May I show you something? A hologram appeared above the table. It showed Earth as it had been centuries ago. Green continents, blue oceans, white clouds. Beautiful and peaceful. This was our home world in the year 2287, Chen said. Watch what we did to it. The hologram changed. Cities disappeared in brilliant flashes. Oceans boiled away. Continents cracked and shifted. Within minutes, the beautiful planet became a dead rock floating in space. We had a war, Chen continued. Not with aliens. With ourselves. We had developed weapons that could unmake matter. Itself turn planets into black holes, rewrite the laws of physics in small areas. We used them. Vextal stared at the dead planet. This is real? This is why we established the Terran Accords in 2291. We swore never again to use the weapons that could destroy worlds. We sealed them away and created rules for how humanity would fight wars. The hologram changed again, showing a massive space station with Terran Accords memorial written across its hull. Every human colony has a copy of the Accords, Chen explained. Every human soldier swears an oath to uphold them. We fight wars to defend ourselves, not to destroy our enemies. Major Zixithan looked confused. But why show us your real capabilities at all? Why not keep them secret? Because secrets lead to miscalculations, and miscalculations lead to unnecessary death. Chen touched her wrist device again. New holograms appeared. These showed human weapons that made Vextal's blood run cold. A device that opened holes in space itself. another that could make a star collapse into a black hole, a third that created self-replicating machines that consumed entire solar systems. "These are our classified weapons," Chen said. "The ones we created before we learned wisdom. They still exist, sealed in vaults deep beneath Earth and our major colonies." "How many?" Vextal whispered. "Enough to sterilize every inhabited world in the galaxy." Twice. The room fell silent. Vextal could hear his own heart's beating. "But they remain sealed," Chen continued, "because we learned that the strongest species is not the one with the biggest weapons. It is the one wise enough not to use them." "So what have you been fighting us with?" Zixthon asked. "Police weapons, essentially, designed to stop attackers without causing massive destruction. We could have destroyed your fleets in the first hour of this war. Instead, we have been trying to convince you to leave without killing more of your people than necessary." Chen touched her device once more. This time the hologram showed human weapons that Vextal recognized: railguns, missiles, plasma rifles. But now he saw technical specifications that made his skin crawl. "Your basic railgun can accelerate projectiles to 12% of light speed," he read. "Our police railguns," Chen corrected. "Our military versions can reach 47% of light speed. Our enhanced versions can exceed 90%. Your missiles carry 50 megaton warheads." Again, police versions. "Military missiles carry 50 gigaton warheads. Enhanced versions carry quantum vacuum bombs that can eliminate matter from existence." Vextal sank into his chair. "Why are you telling us this?" "Because tonight, the Human Colonial Congress votes on escalation. 6 colonies have been attacked. Human civilians are dying. Some members of Congress want to authorize Level 2 weapons." "What are Level 2 weapons?" Chen showed him. The hologram displayed weapons that could crack continents, turn atmosphere into plasma, and create gravity wells that pulled ships out of hyperspace. These were not world destroyers, but they were close. Level 3 weapons can destroy planets. Level 4 weapons can destroy star systems. Level 5 weapons can destroy sectors of space. Chen paused. "We have Level 8 weapons, Commander. We pray we never have to use them." "What do Level 8 weapons do?" "They can destroy galaxies." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Vextal realized that his mighty empire had been poking a sleeping giant with a stick. "Doctor, how do we stop this escalation?" "End the war. Withdraw from human space. Accept that some species are better left alone. My government will not accept defeat. Then your government will learn why humanity chooses peace over war. It is not because we are weak. It is because we know what war really costs." Chen stood up, smoothing her simple white coat. "Commander, I am going to return to my people now. Your security cannot stop me, and we both know it. But I will give you one gift." She placed a data chip on the table. "This contains recordings of the Congressional debate. Listen to how humans discuss war. Listen to how we talk about weapons that could end all life in the galaxy. Listen to how we argue about the ethics of using force against species we consider children." "Children?" "Commander, your empire is 12 species spread across hundreds of worlds. Humanity is one species spread across thousands of worlds, with technology you cannot imagine and weapons we refuse to use. From our perspective, you are all children playing with toys." Chen walked toward the door, which opened automatically despite the electronic locks. "Wait," Vextal called. "What does your Congress decide?" Chen paused at the doorway. "That depends on you, Commander. If you withdraw now, they will vote to maintain current protocols. If you escalate—" "What?" "Then you will learn why every species in our galaxy should pray that humanity never goes to war for real." She was gone, leaving behind only the data chip and the terrifying realization that Vextal had made the worst mistake in Imperial history. He picked up the chip with shaking claws. In a few hours, he would know whether the galaxy was about to end. Strategic Commander Vextal sat alone in his private chamber, listening to the most terrifying conversation in galactic history. The data chip Dr. Chen had given him contained the complete proceedings of the Human Colonial Congress emergency session. What he heard made his blood freeze. The session began with President Martinez calling for order. Around her sat representatives from hundreds of human colonies, their faces grim but calm. "The motion before us is simple," Martinez announced. "Do we authorize Level 2 enhanced weapons against the Zephyrian Empire?" A tall man with scars on his face stood up. "Admiral Reeves, New Singapore Colony. I vote yes. They have killed 3,000 civilians across 6 worlds. Enough is enough." Representative Chen, Luna City. An older woman rose. "I vote no. Our current weapons are sufficient. Escalation serves no purpose." Representative Thompson, Kepler Station. A young man spoke quickly. "I vote yes, but only quantum torpedoes. Nothing that causes permanent spatial damage." Vextal paused the recording. Quantum torpedoes were Level 2 weapons? His science officers had theorized about such devices but considered them impossible to build. The debate continued. What horrified Vextal was not the anger in human voices, but the calm, rational way they discussed weapons of mass destruction. Representative Nakamura, Titan Base. "I propose we demonstrate one Level 2 device as a warning. The gravitic mine should be sufficient." Representative O'Brien, Europa Station. "I second that motion but suggest the quantum disruptor instead. Less risk of collateral damage to Imperial personnel." They were discussing which superweapon would kill fewer enemy soldiers. Vextal realized these humans were not monsters. They were trying to minimize casualties while defending themselves against an invasion. The recording continued with technical discussions that made Vextal's head hurt. Humans casually mentioned weapons that could twist space, stop time, or convert matter into pure energy. And these were their conventional enhanced weapons. Representative Singh, Mars Colony. "Before we vote, we should consider the ethical implications. These Imperial forces are following orders. Most are probably decent, people who do not understand what they have started." Representative Williams, Proxima Base. "I agree. Perhaps we should broadcast our capabilities openly. Let them see what they are facing." Representative Davis, Wolf 359. "That could be seen as a threat rather than a warning." President Martinez stood up. "The question before us is not whether we can defend ourselves. We all know we can. The question is how much force is appropriate when dealing with a less advanced species. Less advanced." The words hit Vextal like a physical blow. The humans saw his mighty empire as primitive children. A new voice spoke. Representative Park, Deep Space Station 7. "I have been monitoring Imperial communications. Their commander seems intelligent. Perhaps he can be reasoned with." Representative Foster, Barnard Star. "Their empire has conquered many worlds. They understand only strength." Representative Kim, Vega Colony. "Then we show them strength. But controlled strength. Precise strength." The debate went on for hours. Humans discussed weapons that could crack moons as if they were talking about which tools to use in a workshop. They argued about the ethics of using force against what they clearly saw as an inferior opponent. Finally, President Martinez called for the vote. "All in favor of authorizing Level 2 enhanced weapons?" Vextal counted the voices. 47 colonies voted yes. All opposed? 53 colonies voted no. The motion fails. We will continue with current protocols. Vextal felt relief flood through him. Then he heard the next part of the discussion. "However," Martinez continued, 3 colonies have voted to demonstrate a single Level 2 weapon as a deterrent. New Singapore, Europa Station, and Wolf 359. "Demonstration authorized," came a voice from somewhere off-screen. "Initiate Pandora Protocol 7. Single device deployment. Target, uninhabited, space near Imperial forces." Vextal quickly switched to his ship's communication system. "All stations, emergency scan of local space." The response came back immediately. "Commander, massive energy spike detected 3 light minutes from our position. On screen, the main..." Viewer showed empty space, then reality tore open like fabric. A hole appeared in the universe itself, edges crackling with energy that hurt to look at. The hole grew larger, pulling in cosmic dust and debris. For 10 terrifying seconds, it looked like the rift might consume everything nearby. Then it closed, with a flash that temporarily blinded all sensors. What was that? Vextal demanded. Unknown, sir. But sensors detected gravitational distortions consistent with black hole formation. Vextal realized the humans had just demonstrated the ability to create black holes at will, in empty space. As a warning, his communication system activated. Dr. Chen's voice came through clearly. Commander Vextal, this is Dr. Chen. What you just witnessed was a level 2 gravitic mine. It creates a temporary artificial black hole. We used the smallest setting and placed it in empty space to avoid casualties. How is this possible? Commander, we tried to tell you. Humanity has had centuries to develop weapons while learning to control ourselves. We learned to make terrible things. More importantly, we learned not to use them unless absolutely necessary. The communication shifted to President Martinez. Commander, the Congressional vote was close. Several colonies want to escalate to level 3 weapons. I can control that desire for now, but not if you continue attacking our people. Level 3? Vextal whispered. Planet crackers, Commander, stellar disruptors, galaxy-class antimatter bombs, weapons we created during our darkest period and swore never to use again. What do you want from us? Withdraw from human space. Accept our independence. Take your fleets home and tell your empire that humanity wishes to be left alone. Vextal looked at his tactical displays. His mighty fleet suddenly seemed like toys compared to what he had just witnessed. And if we refuse? Then the next Congressional vote will authorize different weapons. And Commander, there will not be enough left of your fleets to carry the warning home. The transmission ended. Vextal sat in silence, processing what he had learned. His empire had attacked a species that could destroy galaxies but chose not. Two humans fought with police weapons while keeping superweapons locked away. They could have ended this war in minutes, but were trying to minimize casualties. He activated his fleet communications. All ships, this is Strategic Commander Vextal. Cease all offensive operations immediately. Begin withdrawal to Imperial space. Sir? Came Admiral Kethmore's confused voice. Admiral, we have made a terrible mistake. These humans are not what we thought they were. Sir, we can still complete the mission. We have overwhelming numbers. Admiral, the humans just created a black hole as a gentle warning. Do you want to see what they consider a real weapon? Silence filled the channel. Vextal began composing his report to the Imperial High Command. How do you explain that your proud empire had just tried to conquer a species that could casually destroy solar systems? How do you tell your leaders that humanity was letting them live out of kindness? The report would be simple. Recommend immediate cessation of hostilities with human species. Classification, Sleeping Titan. Threat level, absolute. Recommendation, leave them alone. Forever. As his fleets turned for home, Vextal wondered if other species in the galaxy knew the truth about humanity. Were there others out there who possessed godlike power but chose restraint? He hoped never to find out.